Hey guys, Dov here, back with another underrated unit for Total War Warhammer 2. Today with Field Trebuchets for Bretonnia, and with the Hippogriffs up in the air. Can you guess who we're facing? It is the Dwarfs, of course. This is another replay from Kark, and yeah, showing off the Trebuchets here. A lot of people will avoid this matchup because they think it's tough or heavily favors the Dwarves. Can be tough for Bretonnia. I would tend to agree to a degree, but I also think that Bretonnia has some pretty decent tools in this matchup, one of them being these Field Trebuchets. So let's watch these peasants load them up as we take a look. 440 range, not the most armor-piercing damage, but the explosive damage does a little bit. It's enough to certainly fell some Dwarven infantry if they get good contact. They aren't the most accurate in the world, but that 440 range means that you can do this. Keep them far back while the rest of your army pushes forward. Also got some foot squires. Of course, the Royal Hippos up in the air are going to be a very key component as well. And the Peasant Bowmen, handful of them, lots of mobs to soak blasting charges and to tire out Dwarven infantry. Morgan and Gratz Dwarfs here. He's got the Goblobber, also an excellent catapult-type artillery. Of course, with the leadership debuff, he's also got the Iron Drakes, so these two working in tandem. The Flame Drakes and the Goblobber can rout almost any Bretonnian infantry almost instantly. Cannons, we've also got a regular, not regular, it seems almost more regular, but the Trollhammer torpedoes. Got plenty of Dwarf Warriors with great weapons, and it looks like regular Dwarf Warriors as well. Thorgrim Grudgebearer leading the way, Organ Gun, and some Longbeards with great weapons also. So you can see the Trebuchets right now. Looks like this one probably has been getting countershot by the Dwarven Cannon, but that's fine. You know, letting this take the shots, this is only 650 points, right, in comparison to the 2,000 point unit of Hippogriff Knights that could potentially be getting poked by that cannon here. It's definitely, you know, favorable for Kark to have that situation, right? So even that in and of itself, even though that Trebuchet is just getting, you know, absolutely destroyed, it's still paying for itself in a large way. You can see these men-at-arms taking a deep journey all the way up and around this little lakeside that the Dwarfs have parked up next to. But the Trebuchets have already been doing pretty consistent work. The cost trade is not necessarily great per se, but given that the Dwarfs can't easily get to them, and that's kind of the key in this matchup, and with the Skaven as well, is it's relatively hard, unless they go with some sneaky Vanguard, you know, secret agent miners, or like Bugman's Rangers, or, you know, Death Runners or whatever. Even then, you know, if you see them in time and you can get a supporting unit back to screen them out, especially with your Trebuchets spaced out like this, they're going to have to take some time to move from one to the other, even if they do have something back there. And so you can take advantage of the fact that these, you know, factions, those two factions, don't really have good mobility, right? Just allow the Trebuchets to consistently pound away, and getting solid contact, especially on these ranged units, will be pretty solid. Solid contact will be solid, obviously, but no, it'll help kind of whittle them away if the Bretonnian units are having a hard time punching through to the back line. But it looks like the Royal Hippogriffs came back, plowed directly into the Trollhammer torpedoes. Kark thinking very wisely about his kind of wind conditions. This is the most dangerous unit on the field for his Hippogriffs, so focusing on them directly, trying to take out as many unit models as he can. Definitely a smart play there. Gotrek chasing as best he can with some Dwarf Warriors. They're having a hard time keeping up, but they'll get some hits in. Meanwhile, the Trebuchets just pounding away. Look at these Dwarf Warriors getting absolutely shredded. If we take a look here, this one obviously just came back from route, has hardly any kills, but we got, what, 34, only 13, and 19. Wow, I'm kind of surprised, actually, that it's that low. It seems like they've been putting in pretty consistent work. Given that they're only 650 points, it doesn't take a lot for them to pay for themselves. Cannon firing point blank here. Might have even tagged Thorgrim a little bit there, but these Hippogriff Knights have taken a lot of damage. Still a full 6 unit models online, though, which is very important. Kark now going to screen with Thorgrim, pull them back, try and get them into a safe position to heal. Pull them, yeah, up and around here where they can't be shot by anything too dangerous. The cannons are focusing on them still. Looks like one of the Trebuchets is actually switched onto the cannon itself. The other one's just kind of on fire at will. Actually, maybe going after those Equerins miners. One of the Trebuchets does get felled by a the Hippogriffs does get felled by a cannonball here, but the regrowth comes in as they charge into the crew. Those Trollhammers will also do a ton of damage, but looks like there's not enough unit models to really put a massive hurt in. You do miss some of those shots as well. And the trebuchets are still only at about half ammunition in some cases even more. Pretty impressive considering, you know, how long the battle's been going. Full 5 minutes, still plenty of time to keep that artillery pressure up. And again, the leadership debuff as well. The attacked by artillery leadership debuff. If I come in here and take a look at these miners, just as kind of a preview of my eternally delayed leadership and health video, you can see damage by artillery is a -10 leadership debuff, which is pretty significant, absolutely, and especially against higher leadership factions like the Dwarfs. Just having that little extra -10 can make enough, keeping in mind that it's separate from the attacked by missile debuff, which will be conferred by these archers, right? So if we take a look here, I believe flanks exposed. Looks like they're not actually getting it, but there we go. There was some heavy artillery fire. Yeah. There are separate effects from this other one. I'm trying to see. It's a little bit tricky. Maybe these guys are getting hit by it. Under missile fire. Yeah, see, under missile fire, -10, and now only -8 attacked by artillery. I guess they weren't being hit directly there. So you can stack those two on top of each other, those two debuffs, and granted, Iron Drakes have good enough leadership that they'll just about fight to the end anyway, but on the lower tier dwarf units like Dwarf Warriors and, you know, Longbeards potentially, can help stack those different things to more easily get terror routes or just generally route units because the dwarfs are so high in terms of leadership or cost. Not to mention, of course, the great armor-piercing damage that has been dealt consistently. If we check back in on the kill totals, it looks like a Dwarf Warrior actually went back here and was able to route away some of these trebuchets. This one also getting routed away by the Goblobber crew. This one's still firing, though, up to 57 kills. This one here with the 1, still only 1 kill. Interesting. Kind of shows the lack of accuracy there. Another thing you can do as well, and I don't know that I would necessarily recommend it in this matchup because you want to optimize as much Hippogriff and other armor-piercing power as you can, but potentially against Skaven and some other matchups, you can even take less trebuchets and chevron them up so they have a faster fire rate and much better accuracy. Because they're so cheap, they chevron very cost effectively, right? Because the chevrons are kind of a percentage base of the unit's base cost. The cheaper the artillery is, the more cost effective generally it is to chevron it up. But we'll have a look at Lewin and these Hippogriff Knights as they're fighting Thorgrim here, doing as best they can to cycle charge. Flames being shot by the Drakes there. They're now going to get charged by Royal Hippogriff Knights. Oh man. Oh man, that's a twofer. I believe that is the unit pretty much done. Yeah, not technically wiped out, no, but the Hippogriff Knights obviously are very, very key. They're up to 2 XP chevrons, only 29 kills, interestingly enough, but just doing an absolute ton of damage here. And yeah, the leadership definitely absolutely tanking here between the fear, the attacked by artillery, damage sustained, friends are routing. They are going to get terrified away there. And oh man, this one Iron Drake, very unlucky. I guess there are 5 of them left technically, but trebuchets continuing to get consistent hits. And again, the Dwarf Warrior going back there, having to detach to take this down. That does mean that this Dwarf Warrior is not helping in this frontline engagement, right? And like this Dwarf Warrior over here, for example, way out of position, it'll just take them time to work through those trebuchets and even to make their way back after that's finished, right? So it's an interesting situation to put the dwarves in. And the counter battery fire, I mean, you don't necessarily want to be directly firing enemy artillery, but just counter pressuring, very good here. And against Skaven's weapon teams, it's even better, right? They have a larger footprint potentially, and they are, I would consider, pretty vulnerable to catapult type artillery. Trebuchets are definitely great there, but oh man, look at that mass volley pounding the dwarfs as Lewin charges in. Sword of Corone active. Oh, and there's the other Hippogriffs arriving just in time. This one wants to show Lewin his stuff. He's charging out in front. Gonna take some hits for it. Lewin says, I got this, bro. Oh man, heard that shot too. Just absolutely raining fire still. And trebuchets do have enough ammunition that they can fire consistently. This one's just barely running out of ammo, up to 81 kills. Definitely pretty solid there. The other ones, even still, while getting attacked by Dwarf Warriors, are able to use up the last of their ammunition. So those Dwarf Warriors detached basically for nothing. just separated themselves from this other battle where they could have been supporting. At one shot's enough to shatter those miners there. Hippogriffs are still fighting, only 3 models left, and they are at their healing cap, but they shatter those Iron Drakes, finally, the Flame Drakes. Thorgrim, axe forward, full charge. Can't make contact. He's gonna have to be turned around here. Cannons are making their way back towards their artillery pieces. You can see one of them actually got destroyed, I think probably by Hippogriff charges. I can imagine if they make contact on the cannons, they will actually just blow them up with splash attacks. Longbeards with great weapons doing their best to hold, but the mobs providing a nice little, I guess, actual men-at-arms, providing a nice little anvil. The Hippogriffs to hammer down. This one Trebuchet, too, that still has ammo. Finally getting some contact, more than just 3 kills. Gotrek getting lit up by Peasant Archers, which is great use of these Peasant Archers, super cost-effective. They are accurate enough to get some pretty decent hits. Of course, as soon as I say that, they whiff on like 90% of that volley. But it's all good. Dwarfs actually have a lot of tools left. You can see there's a lot of infantry and so on, but the force of the Trebuchets, especially Lewin, you'll notice there are no Slayers in this Bretonnian build, or sorry, in the Dwarf build, which I definitely think is a mistake. Slayers are a unit that you absolutely want to bring in this matchup. Especially the Dragonback Slayers for their slow. Just in general, I would say. I mean, he does have 1 Slayer, technically, I guess, in Gotrek. You do need the unit of Slayers, definitely. Utilizing that Rune of Wrath and Ruin, stacking that with the Dragonback's ability, does give a massive speed debuff. Basically, minimum % speed, or maximum speed debuff, rather. Which I forget, I don't know exactly how much speed you have in the end, but it's quite a bit. It's like 85 to 90% speed, I think you can get up to. So yeah, it's pretty good stuff. But unfortunately for Thorgrim and Gotrek, oh man, look at that, Lewin just demolishing a cannon manually. And all of the Trebuchet crews have been chased off. I mean, they are unchivalrous peasants, so I guess it makes sense. Utilizing those missile weapons, they deserved it, even though they did very well in the battle. Can't let them, you know, think they're too powerful if they can take on these knights or anything like that, right? This is excellent, though. The Foot Squire's getting in here, and Morgengrat's going to throw in the towel as Gotrek's all that's left standing. So, very good game. Well played to both players. Nice back and forth there. And the Trebuchets, although they didn't get a lot of kills on XP, just that consistent artillery pressure, the leadership component I've talked about quite a bit already, and especially this one, up to 81 kills. I'm surprised they actually didn't get an XP chevron, but very nice pressure across the board. One Foot Squire got 102 kills, and the other ones basically got murked, which is kind of the name of the game here. Either they'll do very well or get destroyed, but the real heavy lifting, of course, is done by the Royal Hippogriffs here, going after both of the Drakes very aggressively and taking them out. Only 58 kills, but 3 XP chevrons. So I definitely like that, and the use of the Terror in particular, with the leadership debuff of being shot by artillery, being outflanked, you know, being shot by the Peasant Bowmen, plus the Terror. A lot of Dwarf units are immune to psychology, but not all of them. You can get quite a few Terror routes going, so good stuff. Good stuff. Big thanks again to Kark for sending that one in. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you do like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.